Hello, Fiona Whitten from Oakville Crafts here, and welcome to my first virtual Card A Cuppa of 2023. Well, I can't believe that this is only the first one of the year. I did have been doing some stamping and creating for the last few weeks. The plan had been originally, because we meet on the first and third Wednesdays. The first Wednesday is, or was, I should say, what, the 4th of January? Yeah, must have been, if today's the 18th. But that was just a little bit too close to New Year for my comfort. So I decided that we would actually wait until this week to have the first one of 2023. So welcome. So we had the in-person event this morning. It was lovely to see so many people, some of whom I have met but don't know that well, and others obviously are people who have been before, and it's always lovely to see them. But this was the kit that we used this morning. Very simple, as you know my kits tend to be, but then we kind of sort of jazz it up a bit as we go along by cutting things and doing all sorts of things to it. So for those of you who haven't seen one of these before, everybody gets the same kit basically, and it always contains an envelope, otherwise you can't send the card. And then each month we prep 2 kits, and this was the one, say, for the second one in January. So we have a piece of Coastal Cabana cardstock, so it's half an A4 sheet that's been cut in half and scored. So that's our card base. We have a panel of Balmy Blue cardstock, so that's just cut so that there's a little border all the way around. So it's half a centimetre narrower and half a centimetre shorter than the card base. There's a piece of the Dainty Designs paper. So this paper is one that you can get during Sale-A-Bration. If you spend £90 or more, then you get to choose. Well, actually, if you spend £45 or more, you get to choose. But the Dainty Designs paper requires a £90 spend. But having said that, you get 48 sheets of 12 by 12 paper. So in theory, it could last you absolutely ages. For me, doing Card A Cuppa and all sorts of stuff, actually, I have to admit that I really don't have that much left. But hey, never mind. It just means I'm just going to have to spend some money to get another pack. But there you go. So there's a piece of the paper. It's double-sided, so and not everybody had the same. So this particular piece has balmy blue spots and sort of white, and then on the other side it's diagonal stripes. And it's always up to people making the card as to which side they want to go for. I really don't mind what people want to do. I always make sure that if we've got a coloured card base, that there is a piece of basic white to go on the inside. So I'm just going to tuck that away in there for the time being. And then usually there's a punch shape or a die cut shape. So this one is a piece of basic white that has been punched using the Decorative Circle punch, which you will find in the annual catalogue. And then there is also 5 little pearls. Some people had them where they were still stuck together because I was using up my supply of basic pearls, and then others had them so they're individual, I should say. So those that are stuck together, you just need to take a pair of paper snips and just literally cut between them, and then you're good to go. So that was the kit that everybody had, and I'll just run through the 3 cards that I took as the samples. So this was the first card, and I call it the let's throw everything at it. So basically everything that was in the kit is used on this card. So we cut down the paper so that we had a piece that we stuck on the inside, and I've actually even written the instructions for everybody. So we cut off a 1.5 centimetre strip to go inside. And then just cut this down so it was 13.9 centimetres from top to bottom. And then it was simply a case of stamping. So we actually used the Two-Tone Flora stamp set. So this is a new stamp set that you will find in the new mini January to June mini January to April mini catalogue. And what you see here is at 90%, so the actual stamps are slightly bigger than that. And it's called two-step stamping, because what you would do is you would stamp your solid image first in a slightly lighter colour, and then you would overstamp with these lined images, and you will come out with another bit that I will show you in a minute. So this particular one, I used these flowers here in Balmy Blue, which I actually stamped off first, and then overstamped with this bit here in the Coastal Cabana. I nearly said Calypso Coral. Well, I did say Calypso Coral, but it's Coastal Cabana. So that was stamped over the top. The happy birthday sentiment came from the Celebrating You, which is one of my go-to stamp sets when it comes to sentiments, because it covers, well, the only thing it doesn't cover is Christmas, but that's okay because I have plenty of Christmas stamps anyway. So it covers all sorts of things. It's birthdays, babies, Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day, anniversaries, you could wishing you happily ever after, it's weddings. So there's all sorts of things in here. Thank you, congratulations. So really, this is, like, as I said, it's my go-to set. So on this particular card, I use the happy birthday here, and then I use my Stampin' Right markers to colour in the block lettering here. I don't know if you can see it, hopefully you can. Added the pearls. So these flowers here are, again, these on here. And I just simply used Balmy Blue ink and stamped directly onto the Balmy Blue cardstock. And as I said, I had cut off 1.5 centimetres to go on the inside. So this is one of the different sheets of paper compared to the one I showed you. And then I did similar thing on the envelope. So I stamped in Balmy Blue, so stamped off first and then stamped, and then Coastal Cabana on the front, and then on the flap as well. So that was the first one. So that basically had everything on it. My second one, I decided I was going to turn it landscape. So rather than having it portrait, I turned it landscape. Yes, it does mean that the fold is at the top because we started with a standard portrait card, but some people don't mind that, and some people do. It's just an option. Everything that we do at Card A Cuppa, these are just ideas for people, and if they want to go off and do their own thing, that is totally fine by me. It really does not bother me at all. Obviously, if people decide that they want to do what I've done, then I'm very flattered. So this one, I did the same again as the first card, in that I cut off some of the paper to stick on the inside, then shortened it a bit so that it's actually 13.9 from side to side. Glued that straight onto the panel of the Balmy Blue. I had my Decorative Circle basic white piece, and I stamped large flowers. So I stamped off first, and then stamped onto the white, and then I used the Coastal Cabana and stamped over the top, and this is what that gave me. And then I had quite a bit of empty space here. We normally refer to it as white space because basically it's just there's nothing in there. So I thought, okay, well, I can actually put my sentiment in here. So I used the Happy Anniversary from the Celebrating You stamp set. And then I added some of my pearls to that, and then I stamped the flower again on the envelope. I don't think I did one on the back, no. So that was that one. Third one, I chopped things a little bit more. So this one involved stamping the leaves from the Two-Tone Flora. So as you can see from here and here, this stamped image is actually slightly larger than what's on the box. So I said this is at 90%, this is the full 100%. So I used the Coastal Cabana. So this is tone on tone stamping. So I literally just stamp some leaves on there. Yes, it goes underneath there, but that doesn't matter because you're not going to see it. I then took off my 1.5 centimetres because I thought I was going to do that, and in fact I did, but I'll show you what else I did. So I took off the 1.5 centimetres off this, and then I cut the piece of Balmy Blue down as well, just so that I could sit this on it and frame it. And then that got put onto the card front, and then I stamped my sentiment in Balmy Blue, again stamped off the flower and Coastal Cabana, and then these little ones are stamped off as well. So these are they look like little tulips. I originally thought from a distance that they were hearts, but they're not. But hey, it would have been cute as hearts, but hey, there you go. And then what I then did was I had my 1.5 centimetre piece of paper that I cut off the piece for the front. So, and I also had some spare Balmy Blue from where I'd cut it off here, and I just trimmed it so that it was 0.5 centimetre. So this is 1.5 from side to side, and then the piece of Balmy Blue is 2 centimetres from side to side. Just glued them together and then glued them onto the white and into the card. So that was the 3 cards. And then the envelope for this one, again, I just used those really sweet little flowers on here, and then I also just put them around the bottom edge of the envelope flap. So those are the 3 cards that I made and took with me as samples. So as I said, I used the Two-Tone Flora stamp set for the stamping, and also the Celebrating You sentiments. You'll find this in the mini catalogue, you'll find that one in the annual catalogue. This does come as a bundle, so you can just get the stamp set, or if you want to, you could also purchase as a bundle and get the 10% off. The dies, so there's one big die which cuts out a panel, and then you can put whatever colour it is that you want behind it. And then the other dies cut out the various different size flowers and the leaves. So if you look at this, look at the stamp set, you've got this sort of ferny leaf branch, and then you've got these 2 little bits of leaves together. So that's the bit that cuts the 2, that's the bit that cuts the ferny bit. So those are the dies that go with the stamp set. So you can get the bundle, or you can get the stamp set. And say the bundle saves you 10%. Right, so I don't know, I'm not going to leave them in view at the moment. I'm going to get back my kit. So, as I said, this was my kit. Envelope I don't quite need at the moment. I will stamp on it. So these are the bits that I do have. So I've got my Coastal Cabana card base on my piece of basic white, some Balmy Blue and some double-sided paper, and that Decorative Circle and some pearls. And I guess $64 million question is, what am I going to do? I did have some thoughts, but then I kind of, not sure. So I kind of want to use the paper, and I don't want the diagonal stripes. I prefer the spots on this one. This was like the last kit that was left, because I took some kits with me this morning, and they all went. So, so if you do want kits for February, you can pre-order them via my website. So if you go to oakvilleCrafts.com, and then at the top there are some tabs, one of which will say classes, kits, etc. If you just click on that, or just hover on that, it's a pop down will appear below, and you can then just click on Card A Cuppa, and that will take you to the page where you can order your Card A Cuppa kits. Closing for that actually ends tomorrow, so just so you know. And I just realised I've left my trimmer over the other side. There we go. So I'm going to have to do a bit of trimming because this is a little bit too big. And what I was wondering was I was going to trim off the 1.5 centimetres that I wanted for the inside of the card. Like so. I'm going to trim this down to the 13.9 so that I know that it will fit on here if I decide that that's the route that I want to go. And what I thought I could do was, let's see now, will I get away with it? Maybe not. I was thinking I could actually very carefully punch out a circle from here that I could use. So rather than getting some more cardstock, just simply use this. So I just need to be careful where I put it in hope, against hope, that I get it in the right place. Let's see now, it's kind of there. What's that? So when I put that on here, hopefully that's hiding that. Oh, just. I can make it hide it. So then I've got this piece I was going to go there. And then what I was going to do was I'm going to cut that, maybe cut that in half. I do have these harebrained ideas sometimes, I have to admit. But it's a lot of fun, just simply playing with the paper and things. Let's see, it's roughly 6 centimetres across. So if I line that edge up with the 3, maybe put it like that so that I've got these two pieces sort of central in this upper part here and on the groove. I'm going to cut that in half. They may not be exactly the same. Oh, they're not going to be far out though, so that's good. And then I'm going to, that's going to go on there. And I'm going to trim this just so that, see now, so that is, let's check, let's cut it down to 6 centimetres. Oh, pretty much there. That way then I know exactly. And then I need this piece to be not quite 6.5 because I just want a smaller border on it. No, I need to take it down even more. Well, let's glue it on then first and then I will work it out. So I'm going to glue this paper on. Now I need to be careful because there's really no point in putting glue right in the middle in here because it's just going to go right through to that hole. So I just need to kind of get on the edge. So it just needs a very light bead of glue and a little bit at the top and the bottom. I mean, eventually I will be putting it on the card front, but at this moment in time, I'm not. So I was trying to be clever here by taking that right to the edge. And I think I might have overdone it, but hey, that's that. Like so. And then I'm going to trim it down because I do have one side that's wider than the other, and also one end that's wider than the other. Let's see. That might do it. I'm being brave. That's fine. That'll. It's just a little border that I wanted, so there we go. You know, obviously, if I hadn't taken it quite so close to the end, I could just simply have put it on. So we have that. And then we have this. And then I'm going to, I was going to say, put this underneath. This is where I might find that I'd actually need Maybe that's not even going to work. Disaster. See, sometimes my good ideas aren't such good ideas, like this one. I'll figure it. I'll figure it. You might just have to chop it. Sometimes you have to do that. My scissors. So if you find that you have to chop, that's fine, don't worry. If you just chop corners off at an angle, because those are usually the bits that you don't want to be seen. Like that. And you just need to kind of marry them up so that you've got the same waves. So this decorative border punch is not the same wave every single time. And you just kind of have to find where it is. So that's that one. And I think that one then should be basically directly opposite, which it is. That's fine. Good. And doing this also means that I end up doing an awful lot of talking to myself. But hey, what the heck. So if anyone's got any comments, please leave them and I will get back to you. I can't see them at the moment, so I don't know if anyone has. Hi Lynn, I see you're there. Right, okay, oops, now I'm going to put a sentiment on, I think. Now what should we put on? We could do the happy birthday again, or we could do just for you. Don't think I'm not ready for Easter and for Mother's Day just yet. It is Valentine's next month, good grief. So you could do something that says like lots of love, but that will work for birthday as well. Let's see. Not all of these will fit. Now I know that these are at 100% because it doesn't say at the bottom that there are anything else. So there's nothing there. So if you're not sure whether or not it will fit on, then just simply place your whatever it is it's going on to over that particular sentiment. So I think everything here, with the exception of the "you are every bit of wonderful," will fit onto this punched shape. So I think I'm just going to do just for you. So this is a red rubber, which means that you can just put it straight onto a block. You don't need to put anything. I did say just for you, didn't I? So I'm just going to put that straight on, like so. And let's see, where will it fit? I think it will fit quite close to the top on this one. I think I'm going to do that, then I can put a fairly large flower on there. Ink. And I think I'm going to do it in Coastal Cabana. So I just need to make sure that's inked up. Or I could just put it down the bottom. No, I think I'm going to put it oh, hang on. This is where I forgot that I was actually going to put it on this. So need to find that again. I couldn't very well glue it on straight away simply because I need to stamp first. Right. So long as that stays that way up, then I know I'm okay. Just going to huff on that because I know just in case it started to dry out. And then I'm going to stamp that just there. That came out okay. And then I'm going to stamp the flower. Now the other stamp set, the Two-Tone Flora, is a photopolymer stamp set. If you're just doing a lined image, it's not too bad. But if you're doing a solid image like these, as you will see, it's advisable to put something underneath what you're stamping on, just so that there's that bit of give. So I have a Stampin' Pierce mat, so I'm going to use that. So I've got my Just For You now. So there are 3 sizes, 4 if you count the really small ones. So this was the size that I used this morning, which, as you can see, it's just a little bit too big. This is the other benefit of having photopolymer. You can actually see where you can put it on your whatever you're stamping on. So that one's just a wee bit too big. So let's go for this one. Well, that one's a wee bit too big as well, really. Oh, right. Okay, we'll go for this one. That one. That one. Probably you kind of have to use your imagination on this one as to what they're going to look like. Oh, no, that'll be fine. So I'm going to use this one. And then close that up so that I don't end up sticking my fingers in it, or my top, or whatever. So that's that on my block. And then I want the one, so that should be the one that's going to go with it. That one can go on there. So I've got my 2 stamps. So the first, which is the solid one, I'm going to stamp in the Balmy Blue, but I'm going to stamp off first because I don't want it. Can be, because I've not long re-inked this, so it could be quite dark. So if I stamp on here, we can see. And also, this is the first time that I've used the stamp, so sometimes it's wise to give it a few goes, just to make sure that it's got good coverage. And it'll just kind of see, it'll get better and better. So now that I've done that, actually I'm just going to go full on. What the heck? Like so. And I'm looking at that thinking, no, that can't be the same one. But there's normally like a little, there's usually something on there that tells you which bit to line up. So if you notice on here, there's this sort of little squiggly bit. And there's a squiggly bit on here too. So, for want of a better description, that's the bit that you're going to line up for when you stamp. Sometimes you want to actually just stand up and do it. Other times you can get away with sitting down. If I lean too far forward, you're not going to be able to see. But so I'm just going to wing this one. So I kind of hope it's almost like left, right, doing a bullseye type thing. I'm not sure. Where's the stamp set? Make sure I do have the right one. I think I do. Just doesn't look quite right. Just doesn't look like it's in the right place. So we're going to turn it over and we're going to start again. What did I do? I put it at the top. I'm going to put the Just For You there. I love it that paper has 2 sides. If you do make a boo-boo, it doesn't really matter, you just turn it over. Which is one of the reasons why I tend to stamp before I stick everything in. I do on occasions get a bit carried away and I will stick things in and then I'll realise, shouldn't have done that because I really wanted to do something extra on top. That's that. Now I just need to find my stamp set, which I have buried somewhere. What have I done with it? Oh, there it is. Okay. Maybe that's the one. See, I don't think that is the one. So maybe it is that one. Maybe I just didn't line it up properly. Maybe it should go somewhat different. Let's see. Turn it around. No, I think it was the right way. Just for me, it does not seem right. Just not. Maybe if I just move it down a bit. Anyone got any thoughts? That's definitely the wrong way around that way, I'm sure. All right, I'm going for it again. That's better. So I just needed to move it down slightly. That was all. And not have this piece actually in the centre of the white. So if I show you a bit closer, then you can see for yourself, hopefully. So this is the one that I'm quite happy with. So as you can see, the Calypso Coastal Cabana piece goes around the Balmy Blue. So you kind of want to line up the two bits of blank, whereas this one, it kind of went over the top, and so it just did not look right. So I'm happier with that now. So that's going to go on here. And the question is, do we put it in the middle? Do we put it on the side? So the other thing I need to do is bring back these two pieces, which is the bit that was cut out. I need to make sure that they are, and because I've turned it over, I have to turn these over. That's why I had to, that's why it didn't look right. There we go. So if you do turn your piece over for stamping, and you've got something that you're going to put underneath it just to sort of bring it out, highlight it more, and then you'll have to turn that piece over as well. I can put some glue on here. I don't want to go too far to the edge, because I do want some of this blue showing. Just a little bit. Now, obviously it's personal preference as to how much you do want to have showing. I just kind of like a hint. And you'll find that towards the top and the bottom it will sort of disappear anyway. And you kind of just have to play around with it just a little bit, just to have it all line up in how you want it. So now that I've got that paper, I'm not sure. See, this is where I cut the piece out. Now we're going to put it in the middle. Could even put it to one side like that, have it completely different. That's actually, I quite like that. And then again, you can glue it or you can use dimensionals. We could put some flowers here or some more leaves. It's entirely up to you what you would like to do. I'm just going to leave it plain, I think. I'm going to put this on with some glue. And I can put some in the middle there now. I just didn't want to put it on originally and then have it sitting there, and which means that the glue would have just stuck to my grid paper, and that would have just been a mess trying to get it all off. So this is got it slightly, just moving it slightly into the middle, just so that I've got a border, same border, top, bottom, and to the right there, like that. And then this is going to go on here, I'm going to centre that. And I'm going to use some dimensionals, which I do have in front of me. It's a new year, so I'm determined not to lose them. I know I will eventually, but hey, at the moment I know where they are. Oops, I don't really want to use the mini ones because I'll be here all day. And you'll be here all day watching me, so... So I'm going to put some down the middle just to make sure that that holds that gap. And do that. Put those on there. Put this on here. I could, if you want to centre it right in the middle. I know for some people that would be offensive because it's not in the centre of this piece. It's just in the centre of the card, but hey, there's my little pearls. So if I use my scissors to cut between them, like that. I'm going to use my take your pick tool to pick them up because it just makes life easier for me. She says, trying to get one off. Normally you could just use the putty end and just slide it off and off they come. So I'm just going to put one here. Just double check that I'd actually got them all off. Another one there. And one there. I don't think it needs any more than that. So we've got the 3 there, like so. I mean, I know, yeah, I've got 2 more, so I could go put them on. Oops. Put them on here. I might find a few more in a minute and put some more on. That's that. So that's my front done, and then on the inside, I've got my piece of basic white. Just managed to get dimensional stuck to it, it's not so good. Go. I've got my piece of double-sided paper. Again, I could, if I wanted to, put that on there and then on there, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to use the paper this time. Put that down the edge. And you can butt that up to the edge, or you could have a little gap. You can have it going down the side, go down the bottom, across the top. This is the nice thing about just putting a strip of paper in, is that really you can put it wherever you would like on your card. Glue this inside. That's going to go in there. Oops, quite the right place. Maybe it was. There we go. Go on like that. So that's my finished card. And then I did say I was going to do the envelope, which I am. And I will need my Stampin' Pierce mat again so that I can do my Balmy Blue flower. Don't need my glue anymore, so put that away. Let's put it, oops, that way. I'm not going to do the back, I'm just going to do the front. Coastal Cabana for the other stamp, seeing as this is a two-step stamping. And then, as I said, I just need to make sure that the white bits are lined up. This is where I knock my head against the phone. I'm just going to go for it again. Missed it slightly. Oh well. It doesn't look as bad as the first one, so I'm just going to let that one go. But hey. So that's it. That's my fourth card. I'll bring the other ones back in. So I've used the Two-Tone Floral stamp set for the flowers and the Celebrating You for the sentiments. So in addition to the two-tone flowers, there is the dies that go with it, and then there is part of the collection another stamp set which has sentiments on, and I'll just show you quickly which one that is. So this is the stamp set that we've just used, and those are the dies. And then the others, so these have sentiments, and then they also have dies to go with them, which are really nice for cutting labels and things. So that one's called Something Fancy. So you can combine the two, or you could just use the two-tone bundle or the two-tone stamp set, entirely up to you. If you'd like to purchase it and you don't already have a UK demonstrator, then please think about purchasing it through my online store, which you can find at oakvillcrafts.com, and then just click on the shop button at the top. As I said, tomorrow is the last day to order kits, the Card A Cuppa kits for February. So if you would like February's kits, it's £5 for the two. If you can't come in person, then I do charge an extra £1 towards the cost of postage. But it costs a lot more than that to actually post it. And and the other thing is February's class, which is on the 11th of February. We have a morning class and an afternoon class. You can do one or the other, or you can do both. It's entirely up to you. And there are also kits available. Again, booking for that closes tomorrow. So again, if you go to oakvillcrafts.com, and at the top where it says classes, kits, etc., just hover over there, and the pop down will be in-person classes. And if you just want the kit, then just go to where it says kit class. Okay, so these are the 4 cards. So those are the 3 that were made as the samples that went with me to Card A Cuppa this morning. And then this is the 4th one that I have just made for you now. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing these. If you've got any questions, just drop me a line or leave a comment and I will get back to you. And I will be back next week with some stamping and creating. So hopefully I'll see some of you at class or at Card A Cuppa. And just take care. All right then. Bye.